We're used to doing it this way. It's always been this way. Why is it a problem?
Right, it's
Like it's
always been.
strange. It's strange. But then again, like I seen that Bobby Brown was just on the Jennifer Hudson show, and that just felt so greasy because that's the bitch that lined up the love of your life. She was waiting in line for her to die so that she could have this fucking show.
Yeah, you know, it makes you question a lot. It makes you question a lot.
It should make you want to vomit, you know?
Biggest facts. Biggest
It,
facts.
it should make you want to vomit
Biggest facts. I
because
mean, it's
the
always
fuck? No, no, literally.
hindsight's always 2020 when you feel like, you know, when you see that you've been
Mhm.
used in a situation and the world keeps on moving and you put two and two together or three and three together or four and four together, you're like, oh wow. If only I've been that fly on the wall earlier, I would have seen the whole
Well,
lineup.
see, the thing is that even really doesn't matter at all. It doesn't. None of that shit matters. Not near fuck none of it. Because there are plenty of people who know exactly what the fuck is going on. And ain't nobody stopping it. Worse than that, motherfuckers really don't want it to stop. They don't. They're used to the system. They rely on it. It's what they know.
Without question.
Why do something different? This is what works. It's been working. It was okay when it happened to me. Like when I look at Rihanna right now, how the fuck do you have nothing to say, little girl?
Yeah.
And then I look at Megan. How the fuck do you have nothing to say, little girl? That young man laid up in a hospital, nearly lost his life.
Mm.
And all you can do is get on Twitter and say, he's a liar, he lied, he lied, he lied. I'm the one that's telling the truth. He lied, even though I lied about everything. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Come on.
Bitch, can we look at your feet?
Come on.
And you did all of that so that you could fucking do Japanese anime commercials for Airbnb
See.
and selfie bomb at the Met Gala, and everybody knows it's forbidden because they really don't want nobody seeing who the fuck is in there.
Hey. Hey.
It's just weird. Hold
It's
on
it,
a second.
it, it's just
I'm ugh, just trying to get my
daggone.
and hoping that this is going to work. You know, you said this is a different kind of live and it's a little more lax. So
A little more
I'm
lax.
trying to
Drink.
make sure
Grab some coffee.
that
Pour some peach moonshine.
oh no, it's too early for that. They might accuse me of being a YouTuber,
They just might. They just might.
getting drunk for breakfast online.
Jeez
That's some
Louise.
YouTube shit. Okay, hold on a second. Let me get comfortable and let me see if this is going to work. Okay, I'm hoping this is going to work.
Okay. That works. That works. That works.
Is it enough light, or
Oh
do
no!
I
Look,
need to move my
again.
ring?
This is
A
as comfortable as comfortable
little
gets.
closer. I'm in bed, so
There you go. That works. That works.
hold
You
on
know,
a second. Let me get myself together. I don't want them to say that I'm advertising. Somebody actually went and dug up me and Angel's only for the fans and tried to say that it was my OnlyFans account. It was so funny. Hold on a
hey,
second.
if ever you're in
Another
the
app.
enterprise,
I'm like,
I've seen stranger things.
I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
This
no,
what we got? This what we got. This what we doing. Okay.
I'm telling you.
But it is what it is. So
Now, I always ask this question because again, uh, happy belated birthday, happy birthday.
thank
Um,
you.
yeah, almost to the half century mark, and I always wondered. I'm not trying to aid you or nothing, but
Oh no, I'm proud of it.
yeah,
I'm proud of every second of it, man. I earned it.
yeah.
Oh, I earned it.
I just always love to ask, someone who grew up and throughout the '80s and seeing technology kind of taking over. Did you see technology coming this far? Like as far as what it was going to be used for? Like
Yeah.
when you're a kid, you wonder like, oh, I wonder if they're going to be flying cars and robot. Did you see like did you have an idea back then that we would be where we're at now with how technology is used and OnlyFans and things of that nature?
Yeah.
Jeez.
I see this is the thing. I believe prophecy. I believe it. I study it. I'm an avid seeker of it. You know, it's funny. People talk about the Bible, they preach about the Bible, they read the Bible, they post scriptures, but it's weird to me because it's like they really don't believe it. It's like they really do not believe what's there. All of this was written thousands of years ago that we would come to a time when families would turn against families, parents against children, children against parents. We would come to a time where we wouldn't be able to tell the seasons anymore. We would come to a time of great calamity, great suffering. There would be an arrival of new plagues. There would come a time where humanity would decide to choose between loving God or loving the anti God. And the anti God is technology.
it,
It
it,
talks about beasts, it talks about idols, it talks about the nasty love affair between church and state and how they've always been one and the same. It talks about imposed beliefs. It talks about chips. It talks about the mark of the beast. I don't understand what people read when they read the Bible, and then I have this new inspired engagement in my life with someone who I believe is a prophetess, and her name is Sophia Stewart,
come on,
the mother of the Matrix, the mother of the Terminator, the woman who wrote Clear from Her Consciousness. And the truth is, if you really look at the stories before it was, perverted by Hollywood and made into an action, two action sagas that take us down the road of these really, really, really dynamic characters fighting against an anti human agenda. I mean, does everybody remember that?
come on.
When you go along with the Terminator um, series. It jumps quantum leaps in time, space, continuum.
What
A lot of people miss the real science that was embedded in what they called science fiction.
do you feel like we're there now though? Because when you speak on the Bible
Yeah.
and what was to come, if you just look at 150 years ago, and in America at least, when white slave masters holding the Bible and preaching the Bible and to using that to his will to enslave a human race, the times that they spoke on in the Bible, you would I know that in their own sense they get kind of added to the times they were living in then, but a lot of things weren't coming to fruition. So 150 years later, we are now seeing things in the Bible, especially when it comes to revelations that are bearing its fruit. It's moving almost at a very rapid pace to where I don't know if we see that what's happening if we're ready for it, because again, someone planting a fruit 100 years ago had no idea we'll be seeing what we're seeing right now, and it's coming at a very,
Did they
very.
have no idea?
I'm just saying they had the Bible, but
And guess what? The Bible has been remixed so many times.
yeah,
It
yeah,
doesn't even make any sense. Have you ever heard about the Ethiopian Bible?
I've I've heard of it. I do not know any of the text or what it actually inscribes to preach.
It's the original Bible.
Mm,
We'll say allegedly,
okay.
but it's the original Bible. It's the Bible in which the Europeans adapted and redacted.
Mm,
It's so interesting when I read Revelations and you get to the end, it has a warning. Nobody took it out, but it has a warning. And the warning says that if you mess with this book, if you mess with these words, you will suffer everything that it says is coming to those who do not believe. And it said, if you remove or add anything to this word, your name is going to be removed from the book of life. Now, I want everybody to think about all of the different editions of the Bible that there are and ask yourself, did they not read the warning? You have religious so called houses and institutions that have edited the 10th Commandments, literally edited God's law as if God gave them permission to or asked for their help. Which is why people really have to question what religion is all about, because the only thing religion has done is separate people in their belief in God, pitted people against each other. I believe this, you believe that. Oh, I'm right, you're right. No, no one's right. Like, it's insane because none of that has anything to do with God.
yeah, no, we even on the blue couch, we've brought a lot of just religious people in as of late, and
Hmm.
what they're noticing is that the sheep are lost, and
Yeah,
people are seeking something to attach themselves to, because what their mama told them probably didn't resonate at at this stage in their life. So they're seeking more. And again, I
who knows what they
understand that.
mama told them?
Well, because you used to not be able to Google and question what your mama tell you. Mama tell you this is happening, you had to believe it.
Yeah,
Now kids is picking up the phone and asking Siri if they mama's right, and now they
yeah, but this
question.
is the thing. But this is the thing. Why is nobody worried about asking God?
Boom,
Because your mama ain't God, and neither is your daddy,
come on.
neither is your principal, or the judge man, or the policeman, or the tax man, or the funeral man. Why does nobody go to God and ask God anymore? Why is everyone so reliant on machines or people? In the Bible it says, lean not into thine own understanding.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, it doesn't get much plainer than that.
But when you speak on the Matrix, you speak on Terminator and the creation
It it
of these
it
entities.
it doesn't get much plainer than that.
That's right.
Lean
That's
not unto thine own understanding. What that means is don't believe what's in your head because what is in your head is a lie. If your great granddaddy was told a lie when he was a child and he believed it, and then he taught it to your granddaddy, and then your granddaddy taught it to your daddy. Now, by this time, it's a fact.
yeah. That's religion.
3 generations strong. By the time it comes to you, even if someone tried to present you with someone, an alternative thought or idea, because it's been so instilled down to your very DNA, you're predisposed not to listen to it at all.
Mm.
Daddy told me, and his daddy told me, and his daddy told me. But what if they're all idiots?
Yeah, that's exactly how religion works. Uh,
Exactly
the stories passed down, but everyone, like you
how
said,
religion works.
when
How many people have been essayed by the leader of their church, and rather than that man being sent to jail for what he done, the entire church would rather engage in breaking one of God's coveted laws, thou shalt not bear false witness.
yeah,
The
no,
entire church goes along with it, breaking God's law rather than punishing a criminal for a criminal act.
yeah, hey,
That's what we got going on in the world right now.
yeah,
Okay, let's fast forward that into pop culture. People who call themselves fans of Megan Thee Stallion are now currently putting money on the books and collecting donations for the PDFer who unalived his victim, who was in jail for life, in gratitude for him poking up Tory lanes. That's happening right now. I got it.
yeah, yeah, no, no, hey,
Mm-mm.
hey, 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 and here we are
That's
still.
happening right now.
Yeah,
Right now.
it,
She don't got not Nan scar on her foot.
yeah,
And that's happening right now.
I think
Not an indentation, not a nothing.
yeah,
And just like she has nothing on her feet, he didn't have no GSR on his hands.
no
And there
res-
was none of his DNA on that gun, on that pow pow.
to see the news reporting on that to say, hey, we have to look in this a little closer.
Oh, look into it a little closer. No, maybe it's time that people start looking at how they looked away from it in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. Um,
Now you got Mega Man on her megaphone talking about he did it, he's guilty. I can't believe y'all is stupid. He's guilty. How many times are you going to say it? It doesn't make it true. You want to know what's funny? Her suing people for defamation when every lie that she's told about Tory Lanez is exactly that. How is it that the defamers get to defame and then want to run around suing people?
well, what do you say when Tory Lanez? I forgot who had spoke to Tory, but Tory had told I forgot what celebrity it was, but Tory had told him that hey, he didn't want the Kelsey girl to go to jail. He didn't want Megan to go to jail. He wanted no woman to get hurt behind all this. So therefore, he laid on the sword. He took the blunt of it all. He thought he'll get off on the trial, but he didn't want to see a mother. uh, be taken
Understand
away from
this.
their child because
You
of
want
it.
to know what's funny? He cared more about their brats than they did.
That's
That's the
aggravating.
sad part. That's the sad part about it. And I guarantee you, his philanthropic spirit was motivated by a bunch of gaslit lies. I'm sure he felt that way back then because people were still being dishonest with him. I'm sure that has changed now. You know, some idiot said that I care more about Tory Lanez than I do Cassie because I'm not talking about Cassie. Can we get into that for a second? Yeah, look at this.
Yeah,
Look at this.
yeah,
No bullet fragments, no DNA. No bullet fragments, no DNA. No bullet fragments, no DNA. Yeah, he's in jail.
yeah. No, no, without question.
And someone encouraged that PDF.
So yeah, no.
Oh,
Let's speak on it. Let's speak on it because again, we
no.
do
Do
these.
you understand? Do you understand how many shades of screwed off this is? Do you hear me? It's like the Baskin Robbins of fuck ups. 31 flavors. Bullshit. All of the YouTubers that were involved in his trial.
Yeah,
Now, I don't know if you remember, wasn't Milagro Grams at that trial as well?
I would say so. I can't remember.
I believe, I mean, I know Armand was very there. I know the Michael Braggs was there. He actually got reprimanded at one point in time. I think he was allegedly trying to convince a juror of something. Allegedly. And then that Ashanique, that Neek at Night was there. There was a lot of YouTubers involved in that case, doing way too much in that courtroom. I wonder
Yeah,
how they all feel now.
it's
Like I wonder how they all feel now.
you know that's real. That's real. It's crazy. I don't get lost for words too much, but I do see the way this will look for everyone who was ready to jump on that bandwagon.
You want to know what's wild? Ain't none of them talking about it. Why ain't they talking about it? Meanwhile, everyone wants me to talk about Cassie. For what? I already talked about it.
Come on,
No, seriously.
hey, come
It,
on. I mean,
and now apparently you guys hired me to go to New York. I missed that meeting.
right, here, Jaguar Wright on the docket. Let's send her to do what? And it's interesting because you know, as you spoke on our interview with Real Life,
Yeah.
you spoke on your reason for going out there and what you're wanting to do.
Hmm.
We were just thankful for you to even tap in with us while being on the first time going to that side of the country for the first time in ever. We were just
In
as
over a
surprised
decade. In
over a
over a
decade.
decade.
Um, for us to say, "Hey, send you to front lines." Yeah,
Live reporting for real life street stars. This is Jaguar Wright, boots on the ground. And
come on, man.
today we're going to go through all of the testimony that I told everyone 5 years ago, even though you could go back and look at the videos right here on this platform. We're
And
going to talk about it again, just
maybe
ad nauseum, because
maybe that's
we
what it
enjoy
was.
talking about pain and trauma.
Yeah,
Like, come on, G.
maybe you talking about it so many years ago, and you would think where there's smoke, there's fire. Yes, but sometimes it don't take that much. You don't have to see that much smoke to find the fire. But speaking on it so many years ago, it seemed like it took a long time, or maybe you hell, you might have got eyes looking at it, for it to kind of start. Okay, now we're starting to see the fires. The embers are starting to light. Oh, now it's a brush fire. Oh, now it's engulfed. And to see where it's at now, yeah, I could see them saying, "Hey, technically these are the guys." And shout out to the other platforms that you went on to speak on the same stuff, but we were part of that whole rollout,
No,
having the conversation.
we are the driving factor in this conversation, period. Period. Like,
Because
let's
it,
be
it
honest.
wasn't a conversation. It
Let's
wasn't a
be
conversation.
honest. And this isn't about being cocky. There is no way you talk about any of this without talking about the blue couch. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, this wasn't on anyone's mind.
The journey of how all of this came to be began on the blue couch, and can't nobody say different. Matter of fact, the content we've created and the conversations that we've had on this channel have brought almost everybody to the yard, because the truth is, a blue couch interview is good for your resume.
Facts. And I have to say this because I want people to understand that whenever we have Jaguar coming in to sit on this platform on the blue couch, we never have a pre-meeting of what we're gonna talk about. Here's the talking points, here's the
No,
questions, here's what we need to cover. Every time it's just been when you say things that are jaw dropping, they be like, man, there's a lot of grunting in the back and whoa and silence. And we're taking on information that we're processing real time.
in real
So,
time.
so when you speak on a Cassie needs to run, we're processing that in real time. There was no pre-conversation of, hey, I'm gonna bring up Cassie and we're gonna. It's that we're taking it in real time because again, we're just a small Dallas platform who don't know too much about the Hollywood inner workings. So we're learning as we go, and we're like, wow, there's no way. And then to see things come out, or some people reach out and saying, hey, how are y'all getting this? How does Jaguar know these things? We're taking it in as we're getting it. Like we're taking it in as we're getting it. So we're processing
Yeah.
it in real time. So I just want people to know that we process this information as quick as the audience processes it. And we're gonna keep on,
Imagine what it's like for me to be the bearer of it.
man. Come on.
Nobody ever thinks about that. Nobody ever thinks about the fact that I know that when I sit online, um, whether it be on my own platform or this platform or wherever I be, the ripple effects of just what I say is going to slap, period. That's just what it is. And the thing is, I've been kind, I've been ginger, I've been downright gentle. Because the truth is, what is Cassie saying? And what has she said in these transcripts is any different than what I've been saying all these years? Can anybody point out the one thing that I wasn't right about?
Well,
Like real rap.
to actually see it though, um,
Yeah.
to actually see
Didn't I sat there and I said he put the boots to that girl.
it,
I
you
don't
can't.
understand. He's so wild. He pimp slapped her friend. Like,
Yeah, no, that's a level of power that you feel like you have control over though. And
like
mind you,
he just went straight native and turned everybody into the slapper hoe tribe. Like, this is insane.
Um, so let's do it like this, Jag, because I do want your
Now they
reaction.
want to sit there, they want to talk about her marriage. They want to, and the thing is, if they think I'm going to dignify any of their disgusting, trashy content with my commentary, they're wrong. There is no value in me going over any of her pain, any of her trauma. There's no value in that. Not for me.
Eh, Let me
I'm
ask.
one of the first people to highlight what happened to this young woman when she was a baby. I remember when she got signed. There's no fun in this for me,
Yeah,
but people needed to know, and Kim was gone.
yeah, yeah. No,
This was Kim's show. And then to hear content creators talking about, oh, I'm Team Kim. And Cassie, I have empathy for what she went through. But the truth is, if she had a backbone and if she was this, and at least Kim fought back, and at least stop trying to make a dead woman a hero now, G. Because I guarantee you, she wasn't running around talking about, yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I hung in there with Puff when her nose was broken or when her arm was broken. Like, stop doing that. Like, don't make her a hero now because she sustained injury as well. And she stuck around too. Why is nobody paying attention to the fact that the reason why these women stuck around really wasn't about love? It was more about ownership and intimidation. And the thing is, the financial abuse, being able to cut off their ability to make money, being able to make people unemployed so he would have the ability to take custody of your children and hold it over your head. This is the kind of person that enjoyed manipulating people's lives. These aren't relationships. This is evidence of systematic SA and DV. And it was done with the help of an entire organization setting things up, covering things up, spying on people. Like, that's not normal stuff that happens in dysfunctional relationships. Not when you have corporate assistants that are giving you tabs on a woman that you're not even sleeping with, who's living in a completely different residence.
so when you hear Diddy allegedly say Cassie was young and moldable, what do you take from the words young and moldable? Mold into what? If you were to,
She ain't a piece of Play-Doh, my nigga. That's a person.
man,
Not a science project or art project.
mm,
You know, he was pushing 40 and she wasn't even legally old enough to drink.
yeah,
He was old enough to be her father.
correct. But this is
That's
commonplace.
just a,
It seems.
that's it. No. It was commonplace. And I
Yeah,
think that's why so many people are having a hard time being honest about it. Because the truth is, old dudes been preying on young women forever in the industry. Barry Gordy and Diana Ross,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Mariah Carey and Tommy Mottola.
mm, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
It, they say where it was Cassie.
Celine Dion
Oh yeah,
and her deceased husband, Renee.
Yeah, Celine just recently spoke on what she had. No, it was a Lady Gaga had to speak out on what she had to go through in the industry, um, based on going into rooms with producers and industry.
Understand this, it's been commonplace for decades. For decades. The control. See, what makes it so disgusting is that they find the real thirsty, the real poverty stricken, I'll do anything to change my circumstances kind of person. And then they'll offer them the world and say, all you have to do is betray this one. And then we need you to do this one. And we need you to do this one. I promise you, once she's out of the way, you're going to be hearing and you're going to be able to make real change and do this and do that. It's always three-card Monty. And you never get the right card.
Yeah,
It's just sad.
let me ask you, when it comes to Cassie's mom was on the stand today, and Diddy's defense team uh, did not choose to cross examine her. And
Smart move.
yeah, like, what do you think that is? I mean, because this is her. Everyone asks, "Where's her parents? Where's her dad?" What for them to see her mom go up there and speak on the abuse that she's seen and her wanting to stop Diddy herself. Like, she, as a mother, physically wanted to fight Diddy for what he did to
You want to
allegedly.
know what's sad? That woman had to do that at all.
Man,
I said it for her so she didn't have to.
mm,
And she still had to do it anyway. The sad part about it is everybody knows he done it, making that woman have to sit there and say it at all. Ain't no shame. Just ain't no shame.
right. To not cross examine her, it speaks volumes that you don't want this jury, you don't want to go against the mother. And that right there, to me, that right there spoke more volumes than possibly, everything that I've seen thus far. The pictures,
You
the
want to
artists.
know what's funny? I would have loved for Cassie to have been evaluated by a psychologist and a psychiatrist,
Mm,
and for them to give an assessment of what they believe her mental and emotional capacity was over the course of the 10 years of this awful experience in her life. Now it's funny because the diddler supposed to have a doctor talking on his behalf, but why wasn't there one to speak on Cassie's behalf of what her capacity was, what it could have been? How could how could she have fallen into this? That's why just sitting there
yeah,
listening to people try to tear her apart, you have no idea where she was in her life, in her mind.
yeah,
You
and
don't know what teen struggles she might have had. She was literally a kid. And people say, oh, you're grown, you're grown. Listen to me, if you're not old enough to drink, if all you are is old enough to die and pay taxes for your country,
no,
the
and
human brain isn't fully, completely formed until the age of 25.
that's exactly what I think Diddy meant by moldable. Her brain was
Yeah,
her psyche was moldable
yeah.
right then and there.
Pimping
And
ain't easy, but it gets easier the younger you grab it.
come on,
Train up a child in the way they should go, and when they are older, they won't depart from it. That's why you have a lot of older men who like getting involved with younger women. I would know. I dated my fair share of older men. And do you know what I learned? They enjoyed the challenge of me because I was so mature for my age. But the older I got, the more I realized they were still a disadvantage. and the disadvantage was time and wisdom. See, it doesn't matter how smart a young girl is. See, you're already at a disadvantage because of time and wisdom. At 19 years old, a man that's 10 years older than you has a better understanding of the transition from teen to adulthood. They know how it runs, they know how it rolls. They got that head start. So while they're watching you flail around as you're figuring it out, they have the ability to manipulate and maneuver certain things because they simply just have the time. I don't care how stupid you are. If you're 50 years old and you live to be 50, even as an idiot, you're going to have a certain amount of game just because you survived life that long. It's not about whether or not they're smart enough to know the difference between right and wrong. They really don't understand the gravitas or the value of it because they don't have the life experience. See?
And you know, Diddy, he's a powerful dude. Let's just say he's a powerful dude, and I got to get your take on, as we're watching this thing.
Powerful how?
So, and when I say powerful, when you see that they confiscated, he goes back to New York to turn himself in. They say
Hmm.
they don't give him the time to turn himself in. They go arrest him as
Yeah,
he
because
goes
they
on a
knew.
stroll around New York. He goes on a public stroll and take pictures with people. To know that he had baby oil and the pink Tusi in his hotel room, like
Yeah,
he came to New York, he says, to turn himself in, and yet you still bring the items that, like,
yeah,
you bring the freak off items with you, like
yeah,
to turn yourself in.
yeah.
It- the level of power that you must think you have, of like,
The level of power. You mean the level of powder? I think that's the level you talk about. The
man,
level of powder that he was on. See, this is the thing. I don't think it has anything to do with power at all. I think it has to do with the fact that he's a sick bastard, and sick bastards just don't care. They don't care. They know they deserve to be caught. They just want to see how long they can get away with it. That's all. And have as much fun as they can in between. Tell me something.
if
Why
I,
would anyone let those girls come into that courtroom to hear any of that testimony?
yeah, they're saying
Why?
that someone had
Why?
mentioned that you have to understand if he's guilty or innocent. You need to be there to understand why. But
No,
the
you
level
don't.
the level of testimony, I'm trying to, again, this goes
No,
back.
you don't.
Well,
Them girls don't need it.
yeah,
I don't need to hear that crap.
I gotta
Listen
go
to
back.
me.
I I gotta go back to Diddy though. Like, the
Uh,
for him to have the drugs on him as he goes to New York to turn himself in. The level of that, then also for you to know what's about to come out in this testimony, but still
mm,
have your girls pull up and give the a little heart sign.
mm,
You knew what
mm,
was about to come out. That means you almost wanted your children to hear this
mm.
testimony.
Not almost.
Yeah, right, right. You did.
Not almost. You know what it sounds like? Y'all better be there today if you want me to fund that, buy them dresses and make sure you had them cars. Like for anyone to think, "Hmm,
Like,
yeah,
you know
this
what's
is,
about to come out in this case. And you got
yeah,
their daughters.
not even OJ's children were present to hear some of that testimony. This is a travesty. It's a travesty.
Yeah, no.
It's a shit show.
It's one weekend.
Honestly,
It's one weekend.
and I keep trying to get people to understand. Y'all don't understand how the feds work, and y'all don't understand where this is going. And I'm not telling anybody. I'm not. I'm gonna sit there and make y'all suffer
Again,
because I don't think they understand when I say God said no. He meant it.
so you are aware that I heard that Diddy's team was prepping an apartment for a possible bail,
Hmm.
possibly sitting him in his own apartment, worth
For the rest of the trial.
for the rest of the trial.
Why? Because they're afraid something's gonna happen to him like it happened to Tory Lanez.
Do you think they're wanting now? It's a cash grab. Like, okay,
Mm,
the 50 million is back on the table.
50 million's back on the table. Let me tell you something right now. That would be the stupidest thing for the judge and the prosecution to do right now. The stupidest thing. But hey, they're saying that they're already pitching a party. Why, if he's innocent, would you be pitching a party? They got people, all kinds of bloggers running around saying that, oh, mistrial, oh, this, oh, that. Oh, they're not proving this. They're not proving that. On week one, and the trial is scheduled for 8 weeks.
Right, right. I'm like, no, this is the game plan. Trust me. This is
Who are you people think you're fooling? It's just sad. It's it's sad,
it.
because it's looking like it's really gonna take the verdict to get everybody to accept that Santa Claus ain't real.
When you see a Gene Deal getting possibly called in to testify, do you feel like they're gonna go down this path of the early '90s puff?
Are they? Because I just saw something with him saying that he wasn't.
No, no, no. You just say just the fact that he's in the vicinity. What what do you feel that is as far as is it a distraction? Is it more so is I mean, no, Gene's gonna do what Gene do. But
What I'm gonna say is this. People got their questions about why I was there.
yeah,
People got their questions about why Gene was there. What I will say is when I showed up with my own microphone and cameras. Gene showed up amongst the people. That's the difference.
yeah, and it made me and thank you for speaking on our platform because I'm wondering, and I know Gene, I met the man. Uh, I'm wondering as far as the energy of what this is for New York. You had said it best
He
last
got
time, where
his reason. I got my reason.
yeah,
I think it would be interesting though for me and Gene to have another conversation, yeah.
mm,
That would be interesting.
that would be that
Who
would
knows?
be
Maybe I'll tell him why I was there. Maybe he'll tell me why he was there.
that would be.
Hmm?
It, you know, it's interesting because again, as the days goes on, I know news come to your news feed. You're on your phone. You're seeing some new stuff, and
Mm,
of course, we spoke on Diddy leaving freak offs to go look for Suge Knight. I think a witness test, another testimony came out today where they confirmed, yeah, D Rock or D Man or D Man, whatever his name is, D Rock. I think he confirmed like, yeah, now we got masked up to go look for Suge Knight, and Diddy was on that type of time, revenge for Biggie type stuff. Then you also hear about him
oh,
being him.
hold on 1 second.
No, please go ahead, Jay.
Sorry about that. That was my security. They forgot I was
Oh, you're okay. You're okay.
I was I was in here filming my bad. It is checking.
No, you're okay. You're okay. You're okay. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
I definitely. Now what I was gonna say was, you hear about Diddy looking for Suge, and then you hear about possible relationship with Lauren London during Nipsey, and Nipsey's untimely
Mm-hmm.
passing. Um, I think I was telling you earlier where I feel like there's no such thing as coincidence, man. It's just so much kind of connects itself. Where I know I always ask the same thing. I always say the same thing, that should we be asking more questions than
Yeah.
something given to us at face value in the media. that,
Yeah.
that man,
I think
there's
the biggest question that should be asked is why is this happening now? What's going on? Why is this happening now? If people spent more time paying attention to the timeline of things, they wouldn't be so surprised all the time.
yeah,
But the truth is people don't like paying attention. They just like being force fed stuff, and it's become the opinion game. Oh, well, in my opinion, but you're an idiot. Who cares about your opinion? Like honestly, YouTube has become like the Special Olympics for commentators. Just
yeah.
crash dummy after crash dummy after crash dummy. And they're not asking questions. They're imposing ideas. I think this is what I think. This is what I think. But who are you? There's too many there's too many tourists and spectators with opinions, and people with relevant commentary about what's really going on are constantly being overshadowed. And that's why the worst thing that I could do is be going back and forth about the details of the facts. Once again,
Yeah, the facts are the facts.
the facts are the facts. I done said what it is. I think people are just more upset at how accurate I am.
Well,
I think that's what really bothers
it's
people.
like it's like a book club. You know, everyone has the same book. They go home and they read it, and they all join together and talk about the chapters that they read the night before, and they all talk about their interpretation of that book. And the book is the book; it's not going nowhere. But everyone received it differently. The internet is basically a giant book club where everyone sees the facts, but they interpret them differently, and they all want to sit around and talk about the way they interpret it. And hey, you might even have a few people on your side, and you may have even someone. Everyone loves a good debate. Who could be the best debater? And I think that's the realm we're living in now when it comes to.
Is it debate or is it disinformation?
Oh,
Because a lot of these conversations are geared to force people into an idea. There's a lot of group think that happens in these internet spaces. There's a lot of people that just sit around in the same room, trading the same lie or telling the same bad joke or sitting there insisting that something that's not true is true. There's a lot of that. And that's a lot more dangerous than stupid opinions
that is dangerous.
because, yeah, it's extremely dangerous. It's dangerous for the people they're talking about, and it's dangerous for the people that are listening. Because let's just be honest, the simple fact that Tory was forced into that very, very, very dangerous situation at the opening of the Diddy trial, and nobody's asking, like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, it's the one thing I see with Tory, with R. Kelly, with Diddy is what when people want to crucify you publicly, they want to see that humiliation. They want to see you walk the gauntlet of that humiliation and accept it.
Yes.
And it's like when a man doesn't, and he's like, "No, I'm gonna stand on what I'm gonna stand on." it feels like it's almost glorified that the downfall is even swifter. And
Want to know why? People applaud success, but they root for failure.
come on,
They want it. They need it. You know how many people, after I was mentioned in that lawsuit, went and did videos talking about they knew it? They knew it was me. They knew I did it. They knew I was secretly working for Diddy. They knew that's how I knew so much, even though I knew nothing, even though I was never there, but I knew so much because, oh, yeah, for about 4 days, they ran with that. They ate it alive. And then, next thing you know, the thumbnail started rematriculating. Jaguar Wright was in jail on this date. Jaguar Wright was in jail March 23rd, 2018. It wasn't possible for her to do this. Whoop-de whoop-de whoop. What does this say for the lawsuit? What does this say for this? Tell me something. Why is nobody talking about that lawsuit now? It was
right?
such big news. I mean, it was such big news that it was announced on TMZ.
The names listed: Jaguar Wright, Odell Beckham. I mean, Juice. It's. But no, it was. It sounded frivolous. It it sounded too spectacular. Like sometimes you could kind of stay in the pocket, but that they sound like they overshot their shot on that one. Like, yeah, this
And nobody
Barney
wants to
Rubble.
take into consideration that all of that happened almost immediately after I got the Defender of Freedom Award.
All right, all right.
But nobody wanted to talk about that. But they wanted to talk about this lawsuit. And they pushed it through and they tried to make it real. And now that it's clear, now that it's out there, now that I am going for countersuit, now nobody wants to talk about it? Why not? Why does nobody want to talk about it now?
Well,
More importantly, how this is stalling out Ashley Parham's case, which the conclusion of that case, should she have won, could have been testimony used against Mr. Combs in this trial.
come on. It, and Jack, I'm curious. No, 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 no. It's wild. But I'm curious. Before even Don went up there and spoke, the judge cleared out everybody. Week one was done. Told
Yeah,
everybody to go home, watch the Knicks. Just clear your mind of this. How does a jury stay away from like being? You're supposed to stay away from any information about the case. This is one of those things to where even the OJ trial wasn't in social media era to where you could probably
I
just
know.
stay off the TV, but now it's like you can't turn nothing on without hearing about this or getting some type of YouTube or
The
news
jury
outlet,
should be sequestered.
basically, right? It-
The jury should be sequestered. The question is, how many YouTubers allegedly followed those jurors home this weekend?
mm, man, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think.
Because a little birdie told me, allegedly, there were certain YouTubers that were following jurors home. Allegedly.
Mm, I
See, I'm not there to do commentary on the trial. I'm there to do commentary on YouTube.
nah, this is an experiment. This is this is one of those moments where we have to look at ourselves as a society and say,
Because I'm telling you, they making a lot of mistakes. And I'm collecting them and sending them to the FBI.
"Hey, hey, do you feel some people like even with them releasing the faces of some of the sex workers who still names are unidentified, but their faces are out there. Do you
Hmm.
feel a lot of people are going to become famous off of this trial? Kind of like we didn't hear about the Kardashians until the OJ trial, as far as Robert.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
feel like we're going to have this is about to create some careers?
Unfortunately, unfortunately, it's gonna make and it's gonna break some careers.
Uh,
You know, it's sad, because this is America, and this is what America does best. It profits off of tragedy. Because the truth is, this trial is the shame of America. Diddy is the evidence of how corrupt and godless this country is. Diddy is the living embodiment of a godless nation. He's also the living example of the desecration of hip hop.
mm,
All of this is on trial and the whole world is watching. And do you know what every other country is saying right now? Oh God, those awful Americans. Oh my God. That Pete Diddy. Oh, they endorsed him. Oh, he was everywhere. Oh my God. They had him over here with the royal. Oh my God. This is what they're saying.
yeah, but
This
what
is
is
how
that?
the world is looking at us. He is the example of the decay of our culture, of our society. This person has done exposés as a parent with children serving ice cream. And then we have to listen to bodily fluids and what he likes to massage his chest with. It's
What does it say
this is
to?
this is America.
Yeah, what does it say to Black America though? Because we have the situation where this is a black man doing these things, and you have Epstein.
Yeah.
Epstein took himself out of there before he went to trial. Harvey Weinstein, he just did an interview with Candace Owens. Nothing about Harvey Weinstein stuff even came out, or at least no one's speaking
No,
about it. How did we get to this level where, as a black man, we're getting the culture of black society is getting put out there? How did we not compress this type of information? Say no, we're gonna kind of try to protect our end, or do you feel like there's a bigger play at here? Because again,
he's the acceptable monster at this time,
there you go.
just like R. Kelly. Rewind. We've been here before.
I guess why do the details of
We've been here before. And guess what? Did anybody stand up for R. Kelly?
you know,
No. And guess what? Ain't they doing the same thing with Diddy? The same ostracizement by the same industry that they were pioneers and captains of. Haven't you noticed that? The way Diddy is being treated is practically identical to the way they handled the R. Kelly situation. There were a lot of things going on around the time R. Kelly was on trial too.
you know,
Little dust ups, little hip hop interferences. You
yeah,
don't remember?
I remember. Uh, you
Transrena, Transrena Kibi paying prison guards to give her information on R. Kelly, and then when she couldn't get any more of that, she just started attacking his survivors.
well,
Is nobody remembering? Same thing. You want to know what's different this time, though?
sure.
Where's the Me Too movement?
Where is that Me Too movement?
Where are they?
I see free Diddy. Well, I don't know if 50 Cent's paying $20 an hour, but I see free Diddy shirts outside versus the Me Too movement. Mute R. Kelly. That you
Why
couldn't.
aren't they muting Diddy?
Ex-
What
ex-
happened?
ex-
What happened? He apparently he likes peeing on people, just like Robert.
Come on, bust the head open while doing it.
Yeah, I'm just saying. What's going on? What's
Yeah.
really going on? What did I say? He was the acceptable monster at that time.
Mm,
How is this any different?
come on.
No, seriously, I want to know. I want to know how this is any different. The same people that were, ignoring. The only difference is when they did it to Kells, everybody talked about him pretty much either with just sympathy or like a dog. And with Diddy, it was, Diddy's done so much for the industry. And Diddy. You want to know what's wild? I was looking at a little video that someone had done on Erica Kennedy. Do you remember who Erica Kennedy is?
No, remember.
Erica Kennedy was best friends with Kimora Lee and Kim Porter. She wrote that book, Bling. She wrote another book, Feminista, and then she passed away.
Oh,
Yeah, still causes unknown.
oh
Ain't
wow.
that something?
Yeah. Tell me something, man.
Yeah,
Jeez.
funny because what she wrote, man, what
Is,
she wrote.
is that something that we should be should we be looking into that a little bit more?
Oh, absolutely. Or especially the simple fact that she was almost sued by Naomi Campbell because Naomi Campbell thought that she was talking about her in the book.
Oh,
There was a lot going on around that book Bling, and they were trying to figure out. Yeah, I mean, one time you used to be able to get the book for $40, and then they started making it like you had to pay $1,000 for a copy.
mm,
They've done everything they possibly can do. She actually helped develop the PR and all of that for Sean John.
oh wow.
Yeah.
Man, the education that we would have to go through to kind of uncover this whole thing.
I mean this is what we're talking about.
Come on.
Why is nobody talking about Erica Kennedy? And when I did bring it up, they were very, very, very upset. Very upset. You know, people get upset about a lot of things these days. But nobody ever wants to explain why.
Yeah. Some of the realest. Some of the realest. You know.
Erica Kennedy talked about corruption, women being corrupted. A young woman who wanted to be a model and an actress, and she got involved with this mogul. Cause of death still unknown.
It-
Ben, Kim. Only one left is Kimura.
yeah, she got her own. She got her own. She got her own issues going on.
Her own issues. I'm just trying to figure out when her and Russell are gonna reunite, and he gonna put her on that midnight plane to Bali, leaving on the midnight plane. Mm-mm.
Jackass.
Going back to find
Come
a
on,
better alibi in time.
come on,
Mm-mm. She's a living
come on,
on that
come on.
midnight plane to Bali. You know, I don't understand why these women aren't being subpoenaed. I don't understand why Jennifer Lopez hasn't been subpoenaed yet. I'm not understanding why Mary J. Blige or Usher hasn't been subpoenaed yet. I'm also not understanding.
Do you think it's going to
I'm
get to that
lost.
level where they bring these celebrities?
I'm praying for it. I'm praying for it. Ooh, and the sprinklers came
Again,
on just as I said that.
jeez, message. No, so Jack, as we
Message.
have this conversation, and thank you always for jumping on these recaps to just talk about
Mm-hmm.
doing these interviews. But I also, I want to kind of have you advice for. There's another Cassie out there looking for stardom, hoping to be great and running into maybe a rich rapper or a rich mogul, and not knowing which way to turn because you're right. Men will use power, men will use influence and money to handicap you to where you
Yeah.
feel like you cannot escape,
Even if they're not straight.
even if they're not straight. Even, and it's getting shaky out here. I tell you, boy, I don't know what the hell's going on. These stories, these stories. What advice can you give a young Jaguar Wright, a young Cassie, beautiful talent, open to the world, small town girl, getting to Hollywood, getting to New York, and just wanting to find that Prince Charming story and end up at
Hmm.
the White Castle? What advice can you give that young lady who is seeking the same thing?
Disney lied to you.
There you
Disney lied to you.
go.
It's moments like these where you wonder where old Erica Wright is to tell everybody to suck hard. Okay, so my advice, believe in yourself. But more than that, believe in God because whatever gift you have, that's where it came from. Not a corporation or a fashion house or a movie studio. It came from God. Pray about everything. Ask God to lead you. Uh, but if someone tells you that you have to be something other than who you actually are to become who you want to be, they're lying to you. Only the devil would say such a thing because the only thing that God wants you to do is be who you are, who He made you to be. And God makes space, He makes room. You got to just remember that. Rely on the source that gave you what you had, not on the one that wants to use you as a resource and drain you of what God gave you. Never forget who you are. But if somebody wants you to be the best you can be, their advice won't be for you to be the exact opposite of who you are. Believe in you, but do it through God. That would be my advice.
Oh, thank you for that. And it's interesting because without prey, there'll be no predators,
Hmm.
and without predators, I guess there'll be no prey. And this
Duality
the duality.
of life. You need. clouds and rain and storms to appreciate a beautiful sunny day like I'm
Mhm.
getting right now, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Cassie, uh, 10 million from a hotel, 20 million from Diddy. Still
Still
told,
not enough.
still not enough.
She'll eat that up in therapy alone.
It, it, what she has to pass on to her children or what they have to endure. Again,
I'm praying that her foundation
yeah,
does well.
yeah,
I'm praying that her story is going to embolden a lot of people. I'm praying that that organization um, can help as many people that need to be helped. I'm praying for what comes after this because the truth is, this trial marks the end of an era, and what we really need to be looking at is what's next. Where do we go after here? Because we can't keep doing this. We don't need more acceptable monsters. We need all the monsters gone. We need a clean slate for the future. You know how I feel about that.
yeah. No,
Cruelty free.
as you're speaking, I'm just thinking, where do we go from here? What is the deterrent to stop creating these monsters?
Hmm.
It's I know the answer's out there somewhere, and maybe it's gonna take like minds to come up with it, but I
Oh,
do
we gonna
believe.
get it. We
Oh yeah,
gonna
no,
get
no,
it.
this what's happening right now. Again, the acceptable monster. An example's either gonna be made, and if it's not, then I'm scared for what's to happen next.
We
So
got to decide. It's up to us, really.
yeah,
It's really up to us. It's what we say yes to and what we say no to. A lot of this stuff happened because we kept saying yes. We kept watching, we kept buying, we kept being consumers.
that's right.
You know, a simple boycott for 1 year could shut down these record labels, these streaming houses. Simple boycott. We're not buying any more of your stuff. We're not showing up. We're not clicking on your links. We're not getting your monthly subscriptions because that's what keeps them going, money.
Do we need more women in power? Boards.
We need more people with integrity in power. Doesn't matter what their gender is.
Yeah.
We need people with integrity. That's what we need now. If we want to save hip hop and we want to move it away from all of this craziness, we have to find people with integrity that are going to stand on their word and stand by hip hop. Period.
That's real.
That's what we need.
All right, Jack. Before I let you go again, happy belated
Sure.
birthday. Um, I wanted to end this with a quick discussion. Were you able to watch the movie Sinners?
Hmm.
Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to tell you exactly. Actually, before I tell you my take on it,
I'm camming down.
what was your
What?
initial take? Because yeah, you actually waited. You actually waited a while to watch it. You let the world kind of take it in first, and then
Hmm.
kind of came in after all the all that initial rush. Um, but as you watched it, and again, I don't want to put nothing in your head, but just from a musical background and just from a creative space, uh, as a creator as you are yourself, what did you take from that?
Well, what I took from it, can you hear me okay?
I hear you. Okay.
What I took from it was a lot. I'm still sorting through the layers of it now. Um, I enjoyed the musical aspects of it. I enjoyed the slapstick humor. I enjoyed all of the embedded messages and codes. There was a lot. They tackled at least 20 different social um, anomalies or discrepancies
Yeah.
skillfully and masterfully. And they did it without really focusing on it too much.
Right.
Um, it was very compelling, and for those who understood it, haunting. You know, Set in the West. Shout out to Set in the West. They were doing some commentary over there the other day, and he was talking about the origins of hip hop and the lies embedded in the history of hip hop, where it began. The true cornerstones, the nine elements, boom, 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 yada yada yada. And he started talking about Philly, and it instantly just clicked for me. It was, Philadelphia was the source, and New York was the vampire.
Mm.
Shout out to Sinners. That was my comment.
Oof.
And when
Eh,
I think about that, all of true Philadelphia hip hop history that belongs to Philadelphia, that was siphoned from New York. Rockefeller Records. Would anyone know Rockefeller Records if it wasn't for Philadelphia?
Come on.
Because Jay-Z's number one records were ghost written by all of those Philadelphia rappers.
Hey.
You know, and I'm not saying allegedly. Everyone knows it.
Yeah.
It was in their contracts. They could go into the studio, record whatever they want, as much as they want. But if the Jigga Man heard anything that he wanted, he got to take it. He got first dibs on it. And they would only be listed as ghostwriters in the history books, which means no one would know. They paid for that when they signed those contracts. That's what they gave up. And he had hit after hit after hit after hit. Philly, 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 still not acknowledged.
Mm.
When I think about the legend of Frank Bank, when I think about PSK, when I think about Schoolie D, Cool C, EST, when I think about all that Philly contributed, Bahamadia, Miss Jade, when I think about, mm, rest
Yeah.
in peace, Tommy Hill, all that New York got to steal from Philly, Philly just let it ride.
Mm.
And it's funny, just made me think about when the Jigga Man first came to Philly. He showed up just like that vampire did,
Hey.
talked his way right in.
Let me in. Let me in.
And
You
then when
know,
I sit there and think about all of his collusion in Philadelphia, while he's still denying Ramir, and I just sat with Liz Crokin, over on X in her Twitter space last Friday, and she confirmed that Ramir's mother was a minor when he was born. Philadelphia. A lot of New York players always came down to Philly to do their date. They lay low and they get dirty. And the truth is, Wanda's story was always that he picked her up in Philly, drove her to New York, and then had her back by the morning for a young woman who got picked up and drove to Brooklyn or Harlem on several occasions when I was underage. I know exactly how fast and easy it is. Less than a 2 hour car ride if you're driving right.
mm,
In traffic, not more than 3.5. That's more than enough time. You can leave Philadelphia by 8 p.m. as soon as the street lights come on. You can be in Brooklyn before midnight,
come on.
grabbing late night Jamaican.
Yeah.
Oxtails or roti.
Talk to him.
Long as you up by 6:30, you back in Philly by school time. You might miss first two periods, but you'll definitely be present for lunch.
Come on. Talk to him.
I mean, it's kind of funny. Do you hear how easily I was able to rattle all that off?
Hey, off the top.
I just made it very clear how easily, by my own personal experience, a teenage girl can end up in a car in Philadelphia and end up in a whole nother state overnight and it not even be missed. Mom asked you, what time did you get home last night? Oh, I got home by curfew. I didn't see you this morning, but I checked you was at school. Oh, yeah, I woke up early.
Mm.
I had to go downtown to go to the clothespin because I didn't buy enough tokens. I didn't get enough school tokens. So I caught the early bus down. I caught the night owl down because I ain't had no tokens for school. And I didn't want to spend my money, Mom.
There you go. Just like that.
And your minor child was over state lines in the company of a grown man. Just that easy.
Yeah, in Texas is that's mind boggling. That you ain't going 2 hours and getting into another metropolitan area. You're in the middle of nowhere. But for Philly to New York, yeah, you got to paint that picture. You got to
Philly
paint
to
that.
New York, Philly to Baltimore, Philly to DC, Philly to Wilmington, Delaware. You can get there in a matter of hours,
You got to paint
quickly,
that picture.
quickly. So it's just interesting to me, how people can just willingly overlook what's blatantly blaring right there in their face and then have the audacity to question facts. It's
Yep.
wild. I tell you what, as
And
soon as Ramir's godmother Lily said that, we got shut down on X.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine. As soon as.
And I got attacked by that little pasty little boy, that little watercolor boy. That's what I
Now
think
which one
about
is
when
that?
I see his complexion. Oh, the Myron from the Fresh and
Oh yeah,
McManus.
yeah, Fresh and Fit. Yeah. How did that even come about? Like what?
Nothing. He was sitting there giving his he was giving his school report on what he had learned at court and playing reporter and talking about this was the biggest trial of the century or whatever. And I said I'd like to weigh in on this. I said, in my opinion, I don't see it as the biggest trial of the century because, and I was gonna go on to say, because if it was the biggest trial of the century, then Diddy would have co-defendants. That would make it the biggest trial of the century.
Mm,
Sean Carter sitting there, Beyonce and Giselle Knowles sitting there, Mary J. Blige sitting there. Usher said that would make it the biggest trial.
did he try to discredit that or?
Oh, well, he cut me off. He didn't even get to give me a chance to say it. I had to finish it after they had to throw him up out of there because instantly he started saying that I wasn't credible, um, that I was a bitch. And then he started calling me mammy
Oh,
and just kept yelling over me. And I'm like, oh, misogyny 101, here we go.
yeah, that's what he's known for.
And then he sat there and then he asked me to prove how I was credible. And I said, sure, I'll do that as soon as you can explain to us what actually happened to Kevin Samuels.
Ooh.
Because, allegedly his fingerprints is all over that. Him and that chick. And apparently the so-called woman that Kevin Samuels with, that was all a hoax too, allegedly. Um, and it's funny because when Kevin died, allegedly, uh, they absorbed his platform into their platform,
Ooh.
bought all the subs.
Oh. Oh. Man,
And
that
he works for Homeland, so he used to work for Homeland Security. And if you was government once, you government always.
ain't no coincidences. Jeez.
Yeah, so he was at Mar-a-Lago. It was real creepy because he's the reason why all of the content about me at Mar-a-Lago popped up before me and Odell could post anything.
Hmm. That I didn't know.
No, he literally sat there and whatever Odell was filming, he was standing over Odell's right behind his shoulder, getting the exact same shots. You would have thought he was hired to follow everything so he could have what we had.
Hmm.
Because everybody knows that we strike.
Hmm.
We strike.
Come on.
So he came and Myron followed behind us throughout the night while we were there in the dining hall for presentation and all of that. And he filmed everything that Odell filmed.
Jeez.
He's a weirdo.
Nah, that's wild. That's wild.
He's a weirdo. He's a whole little cyber black people hating. And I'm sitting up there, I'm like, this guy is calling me mammy and calling me bitch. And nobody, he's a whole racist. He's watercolor. He's the complexion of the walls in this composite here on the back.
Jeez.
That's what he looked like, just them walls.
Damn.
You take a picture of him, put it, he blend right in like camouflage.
Now, Jack.
And he's calling me mammy.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild.
Listen to me. He looked like he could have played an extra in this movie here.
Ah,
One of the vampires. I could see him doing the little river dance.
come on, come on. Now, that's what I want to ask. I seen Sinners, and I took from that. At the very beginning of that movie, it
Hmm.
has a whole collage where it's showing that through music, we as as people allow spirits in, and it could be dark spirits, demonic spirits, satanic spirits. And I believe what Ryan Coogler did doing that little dancing, showing the African dance, the geishas, the hip hop dances, the break dances, the twerking,
Hmm.
basically
Yes.
showing that through music we could allow a dark entity in, but it's not that they could just come in. We have to, of course, quote unquote, let it in, let them in. And as I watch that, and I'm glad that people are watching, what this is, and I'm glad you're still processing it. But
Did
it did
anybody
speak on a
bother to
bigger
pay
whole to
attention?
me.
No, it spoke on so many. Let's talk about the duality of man, the good twin, the bad twin, smoke,
Mm,
stack. Smoke was supposed to be the bad one. Stack was supposed to be the reasonable one.
yeah.
Smoke was always the one that had to be the baddest to look out for his twin, Stack, who was known to be careless and frivolous, almost innocent, but some straight up badass warrior soldiers.
Come on.
But it's funny because it was Smoke who leaned to the spirit of God, the woman that he was with, who stood in the gap for him. They had a child together, and at the end, he chose to be with him. It was the other brother who fell lovingly into the arms of evil. He finally found his place. It's funny because the girl, the mulatto girl, the octoroon girl, who they kept calling family, she
Yeah.
wanted Stack. She wanted him so bad. She followed him all the way back down to the bayous in the Delta from Chicago because he left her behind after he had found her a good husband and he told her, I can't be with you, not in this life. She was the one that volunteered to go after those vampires. Go, go show her value, hoping that he would want her around. She got bit and then she came back in. And the first thing she went for was him. See, in that moment, she found an opportunity. She could finally be with him forever. They could be together forever.
That is
They
what's
didn't have to worry about the worries of the world that they were born into, how unfair it was.
yeah.
And she got him. And guess what? He was happy to be free.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Come on. Well, with that being said,
Oh, there was a lot in that
yeah,
movie.
nah, I love at the end. I don't know if you stay for the credits, but the last little 5 minutes of it,
Oh, you mean the interview with a vampire
the interview with the vampire,
with with
for us,
Sammy
yeah, for us and by us, the coup
and
de joie.
Stack? You know, a lot of people didn't pay attention to the references and the acknowledgement of BB King.
Yes.
If you look at the story of Sammy, it mirrors the story of BB King and Lucille. You know, Lucille was named after a woman who had lost her life at one of his shows when he was young. That stayed with him forever. And just like at the end of Sinners, there was Sammy with Pearline.
Mm,
And Pearline was the woman who he had a thing for. He got to have a moment where, at his cousin Stack taught him how to get it popping.
come on.
And if you remember, Pearline, after that, she got up on that stage and she sang and she danced. She sang to the pale moon, and she was made vampire later that night. It's funny, she was safe until she let him touch her, and then that was it.
That was it. That was.
Which is funny because it makes you think about if you think about Diddy and Cassie,
Hey, that's exactly where I was gonna go.
the second that he put his hands on her, she was marked for change.
Come on.
People really need to watch that movie.
People really need to watch that movie and come back here and have that commentary. I'm just curious what people take from it. So,
Mm.
Jack, I gotta say I appreciate once again your time. I appreciate everything jumping on and chopping up with me, man. There's so much more to do, so much more to get done.
Hmm.
Um, I always like to just keep, on, just asking, what can for those people that are Jaguar Wright fans, fans of the truth, fans of cruelty free. Please, again, tell them what's coming up. Where can they see you? I know they love to just tap in with you the moment after they watch this. Where are they going to catch you? What's coming up? What can they see? What can they consume?
Well, as we're working on developing the pilots for the official Jaguar Wright show made for TV, they can always go to the Jaguar Wright show right on YouTube, or they can go to our community channel, which is growing rapidly, and we're very happy about that. We're a members only platform. Please make sure you get your membership if you want to be involved. in the chat and with the community. We have other content creators that are developing. So make sure that you check us out at the Jaguar Wright Effect. And of course, I'm on IG and I'm on TikTok and I'm also on Canvas. So if there's anybody who wants to get back involved with my musical journey and want to make special video requests from me, feel free to get over to Canvas. And of course, is thejaguarwright.com and the Jaguar Wright Uncensored podcast. I'm actually about to go into the studio and drop my next series of pods because I'm going to be talking about this whole situation with Tori and Megan,
Please.
Kelsey, and
Yeah.
Milagro, and what I really think is going on. Because people like to talk, but I always got a different way of seeing things.
Come on.
So we're going to be having a little Q&A about it over on the Jaguar Wright Effect, and then I'm going to be dropping these podcasts, and I'm going to be begging for Megan the Stallion to please, in all of her male horse energy, sue me. Please sue me. Please. I hope, of all of the lawsuits that people have been trying to throw at me, I hope she does this one.
Oh man, not a hot girl summer. Uh,
Oh, oh, it's going to be a cold winter's night when I'm done.
oh man.
I'm going to make it so chilly she's never going to need to get a breast augmentation again. I'm going to turn them things into icicles.
The Ice Queen cometh.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's going to be a dark night. So,
Man,
yes, yes, bundle up because this might be the coldest summer ever. I promise you.
man. All right. Well, we are here for the ride, Jag. Again, I got to say it. I appreciate you. Just always tapping in. If there's anything you need on our end, let us know. We're gonna tap back in soon. But again, Godspeed as always. Godspeed.
Absolutely. And the same to you. And yeah, that's a wrap.
That's a wrap, Jag. Appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah.